Welcome back, everybody. Time for some more End of a New Beginning. Man, you guys just can't seem to get enough of this mod. The views have been fantastic, and I greatly appreciate it. I want to ask you to do one thing for me, if you would, and we're going to switch over to my browser real quick. Right here in my settings for the YouTube channel, you can see here the subscriber bell notifications, and currently 13.9% of you, almost 22,000 subscribers, have the all notifications turned on your channel. I'd love to see that number go up as much as possible. So if you would go to that little bell on the channel where it says subscribe, and then there's a little bell next to it. If you click on that, you can enable all notifications and enable YouTube notifications, because a lot of you have been telling me that you aren't getting notifications when the new videos go up. So that's the way that you can make sure to do that. Enable YouTube notifications, enable all notifications that way every time there's a new video or every time I go live with a stream, you will not miss it. So getting back to what's happening now, I've been talking to some of the developers, and a couple of them have been active over on our Discord server talking about this. They're great. They are very engaged in what's going on. They always seem to know when I upload a new video for this. So they said that as of now, even though this mod is meant to go all the way to 2050, and that's the eventual goal, right now, as far as the national focus trees go, it only goes up to the end of Reconstruction, up to 1870s, 1880s. So we may not be taking this all the way, well into the 20th century right now. We may, once we've kind of exhausted all the national focuses and done what we can, may explore some other nations. But we are going to keep playing this mod as long as you want to keep seeing it. If you didn't see the first 3 episodes, there's a link in the description that'll take you back. This episode, I think the focus is mainly going to be on gobbling up all of these Native American territories: the Comanche, the Apache, the Navajo, the Cheyenne, Utah Territory, the Shoshone, Nez Perce, the Blackfoot, and the Crow. So there's a series of national focuses that allow us to do that, and I'm actually going to switch over to that as soon as we are done with our current national focus. And we may also do some of the Monroe Doctrine diplomacy here. But for now, that's what we're going to focus on this episode, is gobbling this territory up. And then we'll probably look toward Mexico in the next episode. Okay, so we've got the Oklahoma issue resolved here. So Indian tribes in Oklahoma have long been resistant against our authority, and some tribes may have decided to side with the Confederacy. Seem to have decided to side with the Confederacy during the Civil War, and must decide what to do with the tribes that declared support for the traders, offer charity. We're going ahead, and we've got Phil Sheridan's 17 divisions on the border with the Cheyenne. We've already taken out the Sioux because they declared war on us earlier. So we're going to go down to break treaties with the natives and go after the Cheyenne first. Okay, now that we've completed break treaties with the natives, you can see that the ones that are no longer applicable have already been bypassed. So the Sioux and the Seminole have already been taken out, so that's no longer an issue. We're going to revoke the Cheyenne Agreements. It's going to take 15 days to do that, and then we'll be able to choose Crush the Cheyenne. Spain invites us to the World Fair? Sure, why not? Very nice. So while we're waiting to declare war on the Cheyenne, I'm just looking at our current research. We're working on the Bessemer process, which will enable the building of steel mills. Also gives me a big bonus to factory and dockyard output. New fever has struck the West, and it's only cured by a bicycle. So they mentioned the bicycle. We're working on a prototype monitor hull, which is actually a few years old technology, agricultural engineering, and the standardized gauge for railroads. So as soon as this current national focus is complete, it's going to be an automatic declaration of war on the Cheyenne. And what we're going to be gobbling up are southeast part of Wyoming, western Nebraska, western Kansas, and basically the whole eastern half of what is now Colorado. All right, we're just a day away now. Here it comes. Crush the Cheyenne has been completed. The United States of America declare war on the Cheyenne. We're going to go ahead and give Phil Sheridan his orders to move in. And then we're immediately going to start working on, let's look at the map and see who's close by here. We've got the Blackfoot up there, Comanche are right here. That seems to make the most sense. Next would be to go after the Comanche. So it'll basically be the same thing. It's a 2-part process. I don't expect this to take very long. We've just got too much of an army for them to be able to hang on to their territory for very long at all. In fact, let's see how many divisions. They don't have any. They don't even have an army to fight back with. So it's just really a matter of taking the territory. And as soon as we take Denver, I think that should pretty well be the end. Maybe. All right, so they moved their capital. There we go. We're going to take all states, and that'll kind of be the way this is going to work with all of them. So now basically we just take Phil Sheridan and we put him on the border with the Comanche, and we get ready to do the same exact thing there. We're going to have him put in a position just in time to be able to complete these 25 days. All right, well, we didn't have to take a whole lot of the Blackfoot territory to actually win that fight. But we're going to definitely be declaring war on I'm sorry, not the Blackfoot, that was Comanche. Now we're onto the Blackfoot. And I honestly don't see a way that I'm going to get my armies into position in time to be able to take the Blackfoot. We're rushing Phil Sheridan's divisions up here into Montana. And that's primarily the Blackfoot's territory is all what is now Montana. But we're only about 4 days away. There's the Bessemer process. Let's go ahead and take a look and see where we're at as far as research goes. Let's look at biochemistry, because I do have some things going on there. We could do vapor compression refrigeration, which will give me a 4% boost to monthly population. That might be a good way to go. We're at 32 million, and I'm curious to kind of compare. When we get to 1870, probably be a good time to compare where we were compared to what the U.S. Census says about the 1870 population. I'll have to go take a look at that and see where it is. But let's go ahead and give Phil Sheridan orders. Tell him to go ahead and start attacking. And then we're going to go after the Nez Perce, which is largely a peaceful tribe. Chief Joseph was the chief in charge of the Nez Perce, and they tried to get their tribe across the border into Canada, and they weren't able to do it. We actually, the U.S. Army caught up with them eventually. Okay, so we're just about to finish up with the Blackfoot, and there we have it. This is all going down pretty fast because these are short national focuses. So now what we do is we just keep moving Phil Sheridan's army. This time we move them over to the Nez Perce. And I did look up the U.S. population in the 1870 census. It was 38.5 million. So we've got a long way to go in the next 5 years if we want to see our population grow to that level. A lot of that was because of immigration. There was a big wave of immigration, especially from the United Kingdom, after the Civil War from 1865 to 1870. I need to do something to see if I can maybe go in and change my immigration laws, because I'm not sure what they are right now. Let's go ahead and take a look at that, because I think a big part of the reasons why we're not seeing more growth is the immigration policy right now. So it's actually under border laws right here. And right now we have border control. So we could go to open borders. And I think we'll go ahead and do that. This will be an opportunity to try out the... we're going to go let's vote in a month. And this is where we actually get a bunch of decisions available to us, where we can push folks toward approval. You can see right here the centrists and the radical Democrats are the ones I need the most. So I need to take a look. It looks like right now we have 117 for the reform, 128 needed to pass. So it's not going to take a lot of pushing to get some folks over. I just need to look and see how many there are in Parliament of each of those things. Radical Democrats, there's 25 of those. Traditional conservatives, centrists are 80. So the centrists, I don't know if I can do both, but let's start with the centrists, because that's really who I need first, because there's more of them. It's going to take 7 days to do that. So let's see what happens, and if that pushes me to get those last 11 votes that I need. All right, we've got 25 days till the vote. That gets us to 119. That's certainly not enough, but we've got other options here. Silence opponents, find compromises. This will increase the approval of parties with low approval, but decrease the approval of parties with high approval. So let's meet with radical Democrats, whose approval is only at 24%. We're going to try to get these last 9 votes somehow, so I don't have to mess with my political stability to do this. Okay, and in the meantime, we take on the Nez Perce. I think we could... Okay, we're already moving in. Let's go back and take a look at where things stand. One more day, we're going to see how many more votes we got from talking to the radical Democrats. None. We got nothing for that. Convince the opposition leaders. That's going to take 7 days. We don't have many more opportunities to do this. So let's, oh boy, I don't know. Make a speech in Parliament. Let's see if that does anything. In the meantime, as soon as we take, there we go. We've got the Nez Perce. We're moving on the Crow next. And that's right over in this area here. Looks like the speech is what did it. That got me up to 130 for the reform. I'm going to just to be safe, go ahead and also do something else just to make sure we push this over. And we're going to see what that does to our population, if that really does have an impact on immigration moving forward. Well, we've got 4 days till the vote, 2 days till we make political deals. So let's see what happens with that. Kingdom of Württemberg stands with the middle. So a lot of things happening in Germany right now. We're going to crack the Crow. All right, let's take a look. We're at 137 now. I think we've got the votes. It ended up being 145. It's a success. We gained 1 political stability as well for doing it the right way. So let's see what happens with our population now. It's at 32.254 million. Okay, so we've annexed the Crow. That leaves Shoshone, Navajo, and Apache. We're moving on the Apache next. So by spring 1865, this should all be done, and we will have completed our manifest destiny all the way from sea to shining sea. And we'll also look at what else we can do in terms of our national laws, things of that nature. Let's see. Yeah, we're working on the Apache now. Then we'll go after recapturing Utah maybe, or the Navajo. Well, we're finally moving the political stability in the right direction. Lincoln just gave a speech, and so now we're up to +1. That's a far cry from where we were before. Now we're going to go ahead and attack the Apache. Phil Sheridan rides again. Next we'll go after the Navajo. And I don't know if any of this is affecting world tension. It doesn't really appear that it is. And we've got enough armies now that, or divisions now, that we move on so many areas at once that these wars are only lasting a week or so. You can kind of see. I think probably as soon as we take Flagstaff, that'll pretty well be it. Maybe not. We've got to take Albuquerque now. So next it'll be the Navajo. That'll leave Shoshone and then the Utah Territory. Those pesky Mormons. Taking a little bit of time. It's February. It shouldn't be too hot in the desert right now. But the infrastructure out here in the west is really bad, so supplies don't move all that great in this area right now. There we go. So I'm looking at infrastructure. Infrastructure is a huge problem for me right now. So we're going to go ahead and vote for a rapid network expansion on infrastructure. Obviously, that's going to take some votes. So let's go ahead and take a look while we prepare for the invasion of the Shoshone. Let's go ahead and take a look and see where we stand on the votes for this. Looks like right now we have 86 of the 128 that we need to pass. So it seems like speeches in Parliament were one of the most effective tools that I had. So we're going to start right there. But we actually don't have a majority of anybody. The radical Democrats are the ones who are most on board with it. We're going to have to get the centrists and the traditional conservatives on board. All right, so that got us up to 100. We still need another 28 votes. 23 days to go to make this happen. So Make political deals. Meet the traditional conservative representatives. We've got 45% of them now. It's the centrists we don't have. Boy. I'm just trying to decide where the most effective use of my points will be. We'll try that. All right, 2 days left till we meet with the centrist representatives. Let's see if that number goes up significantly. It went up by 1. That didn't do anything. All right, that's not going to happen. Make political deals. Convince opposition leaders. Boy. Let's try to make political deals. We're running low on time. I'm not sure we're going to get there on the votes for this one. Let's go ahead and take a look at research. Oh, this will give a monthly population bonus. We should be getting ready to invade. There we go. The Shoshone. So next on the agenda is recapturing Utah. That's the only thing left. And we're going to declare war on the Utah Territory, which we've actually, I think, either puppeted or has been an ally through all of this because we've been able to walk right through their territory. All right, we've got 110 votes of the 128 we need. We're not going to get there, I'm afraid. So let me try one more thing. We could arrest. No, we're not going to do that. Let's try to silence out our opponents. It's a last-ditch effort, and it's going to happen just before the vote. So that one's going to be super close. Voting results are in. We got 100 votes out of the 156 that we needed. That was not a great success at all. So we're going to have to try to find another way to do this. Do I spend a precious political stability point to make this happen? Because I desperately need that infrastructure growth. Maybe we try something a little less extreme. Maybe we just go up to well-maintained infrastructure and just kind of baby step our way up to this. Let's see if that's going to be better supported. Oh my gosh, that's even worse. Okay, this is not happening. We got a little closer on that vote, but still not enough to get it done. We did just finish off the Shoshone, so that just leaves the Utah Territory, which we will now move on. And I think I'm just going to have to bite the bullet and spend a political stability point to make this happen. So let's go ahead and do that, because I really need that infrastructure to start getting built. I hope that moving 3 spots like this doesn't cost me 3 political stability points. I don't think that's how that works, but we'll see. Okay, it just cost me 1. So that's going to be really helpful. I need that infrastructure investment. Okay, so it did the national focus for recapturing Utah, which should have had me declare war on them, but it didn't happen. And I think it's because Utah is considered a colony of mine. Now, I don't know what I need to do in order to build them up from being a colony to full-fledged statehood. But that's kind of where we're at right now. I'll have to look into that a little more and see what I can find out about that. But for now, Utah is going to sit there and remain a colony of mine, right smack dab in the middle of all my other territory. So the next move, of course, is Mexico. And I don't think we're at the place where we can justify a war goal. We have 4% world tension. We need 7. But I think the way that we change that is to build up our war support, which is right now only 42%. The Utah War is hurting that. Revenue Act of 1861 is hurting that. And then, yeah, I don't know. Let's see what we can do. Okay, we've completed all of that. So now we go back to our diplomacy tree, and we're looking at the options that are available here. Most of these involve building better relations with folks, whereas I really want to be invading places. So I'm looking down this way to see what we might have over here. Don't seem to be a whole lot. This is all about the Army and better equipping it. So I think maybe we go ahead back to our reconstruction tree for now. The German Confederation has been dissolved after rising tensions in central Germany. Between Prussia and Austria, a lot of unsuccessful meetings and the ambition for German unification expressed, the German Confederation has finally succumbed to the pressure this morning. The Confederation is officially dead by a decree signed by Prussia earlier today and is now dissolved. I believe, let's go ahead and take a look over there for just a minute. If I remember right, obviously by this time, Franz Joseph, who was still the Austrian emperor when World War I broke out, died in the middle of World War I. Franz Joseph was the president at one time of the German Confederation. Of course, I think 1866 might also be the year that Kaiser Wilhelm II, who wasn't a Kaiser yet, took over in Prussia, became King of Prussia, and then eventually, obviously, became the Emperor of all Germans. War in Germany. Rising tensions between Prussia and Austria and the dissolution of the German Confederation have led to sharp rise in willingness for war in the region of Germany. This, combined with the Prussian ambition to unify Germany, has led to an unavoidable conflict. Prussia and its mostly northern allies are now fighting Austria and its allies in a war that will surely decide the fate of Germany. That's going to be an interesting to watch happen. So Kaiser Wilhelm, he actually became German Emperor and King of Prussia in 1888. Okay, so he was born in 1859. I was thinking he was older than that, but I guess not. Kingdom of Italy joined Prussian allies. Italy declares war on the Austrian Empire. Wow, that's going to be something to watch. Let's take a look. Current wars. Let's take a look at the Prussian-Austrian War and what we're dealing with. This is a massive conflict between very large nations. It's going to be interesting to see how that all shakes out. I do not expect that this war will go well. It's October 1866. I don't expect this war is going to go well for the Austrians. You can already see the Prussians are just marching through pretty much at will. And looking here, the casualties are pretty close, but it's obvious that the Prussian allies have a massive manpower advantage in all of this, probably as much as 2-1. So as long as the casualties keep staying equal like this, I don't think it goes too well. Saxony and the Free City of Frankfurt have already been pretty much taken of all of their territory. Austria just doesn't have any really powerful allies. All right, so I got an option, a decision to build war support, and that apparently was enough to get what I needed to gain the conquer war focus on Mexico. It's going to take almost a year to build that up, but then we'll be able to declare war on them. Let's see what's happening in Europe. Man, it's happening fast. I expect by spring 1867 that war is probably going to be over. Southern demands on military presence. Gain 2 reconstruction points. Hit to stability. Yeah, let's do it. Well, it's the end of November 1866. The Prussian forces have taken Prague, and they are moving fast toward Vienna. Let's take a look and see what the war situation looks like at this point. It's starting to go in favor of the Prussian allies. You can see here the Austrian army has collapsed in terms of numbers, where it was once pretty even and actually maybe even a slight edge to Austria in terms of casualties. Austria must have had some complete divisions wiped out because they've lost almost 300,000 men. To just 141,000 for the Prussians. Italy, not real involved, only 11K on the casualties so far, but oh, there it is, Kingdom of Prussia. They signed a white peace, really? Wow. I'm actually kind of surprised by that because it seemed like a great opportunity for Prussia to gobble up some territory, and they didn't do that. Okay, so decision to make about the Freedmen's Bureau. Freedmen's Bureau was set up in the aftermath of the Civil War as part of Reconstruction. This is an organization, as it says here, established by Congress to help millions of former black slaves and poor whites in the South. I believe Oliver Howard actually headed the Freedmen's Bureau, man who was known from his days of the Civil War, and he's actually the namesake of Howard University. So pass and increase spending. Pass the act. Legislative power gain is going to take a hit, but that's really not a big deal for me right now. Let's pass it and increase the spending. All right. where are we at now? I want to look at some options for infrastructure and building up some of our factories, and maybe that's where we do that here. I'd like to get not just infrastructure, but some factories as well. Maybe down here somewhere. Train grants, education investments. Now this all seems to be... All right, I guess that's really all we have to do then. Let's start rebuilding. Okay, the KKK has been formed. We're going to have to deal with that. I'll tell you, President Grant was really good in dealing with the KKK. He actually established the U.S. Justice Department specifically to fight things like the Klan, and had pretty much eradicated the Klan by the time he left office. They made a resurgence in later years, but obviously that's something we're going to have to deal with. Also, the Second Hungarian Revolution, after years of tension between the Crown of Austria and the leadership of Hungary, has finally erupted into another revolution. The Second Hungarian Revolution happened only a few decades after the previous one in 1848 and shifts the balance of power in Europe into even more chaos. So interesting stuff happening here. We're still a couple of months away from the invasion of Mexico. I'm not entirely sure we're going to get to that in today's episode. That might be for the next one. So here we go. We have an option under Reconstruction era to patrol the streets in order to try to deal with eradicating the Klan. So I will gladly do that. We've got no room for the Klan in America. The Austrian Empire has declared war on the Republic of Hungary. So here we have it. You can see Hungary apparently declared independence from the Austro-Hungarian Empire. So now the Austrians are going to go back in and take care of business there. So unrest in Europe continues. We've got a North German Confederation now. So Germany is slowly but surely consolidating its territory. They've still got to deal with Bavaria, Württemberg, the Duchy of Baden, the Palatinate. You can see here, Hungary's suffering a very quick death in that war. Let's go ahead and research the Springfield Rifle, 1865.
Attention.
Let's take a look at the situation with that war, the Austro-Hungarian War. It's almost over already. There really was never any doubt with that one. Okay, so right now, under discriminatory laws, we have limited equality. We're going to push for full equality, and I'm going to do that, if possible, through legislation, but if not, we'll do it through executive order. So let's go ahead and take a look at our internal politics, and this will probably be the last thing we do for this episode. This will take us right up to the beginning of our invasion with Mexico, which will happen in the next episode. So let's go ahead and take a look at, I think that was under discriminatory laws, civil liberties. Here we go. Okay, right here under population, discriminatory laws. Right now we're on limited equality. Let's go to full equality. Let's vote on this reform. We'll vote in a month. And let's take a look and see where we're at with that one. All right, we need 128. We've already got 134, so we're obviously going to get this. But we'll go ahead and make a speech in Parliament just to make sure we seal the deal on that one. And while we're at it, let's go ahead and take a look at research. Where are we at here? The Siemens-Martin process. Yeah, we'll come to the World Fair in Brazil. Why not? Here's our national focus we just completed. Continue Seward's icebox. With the purchase of Alaska, the momentum of this expansion has led to William Seward to push for another proposal, the purchase of Iceland and Greenland. Send the offer. Wouldn't that be something? The ambassadors recently returned and informed us they refused. Boo. We wanted Iceland and Greenland from Denmark. They wouldn't do it. So, okay. Fund the academia. Let's do that. So let's go ahead and take a look at where we're at on the vote. We've got 141 votes of what we need. That vote is coming in 8 days, and that will be where we wrap this episode up. So while we're in the process of waiting for this vote to happen, just a reminder, if you like this episode and you like this series, please leave a like. Please leave a comment as well. Those two things, combined with you watching the entire episode, that's what tells YouTube that people like this, and it helps it to be recommended to more people. So the best thing you can do to help this channel to grow is to leave a comment, like, and make sure you watch all of every video. Thank you guys so much, and we will see you again in a couple days.